Hi, welcome to this session on how to prepare for GradFair. So we've got the event coming up on the 12th of May, and it's going to offer you lots of different opportunities, which are going to be really valuable actually for learning about different employers and opportunities, and getting a chance actually to talk to some of these employers as well, which I think is one of the very best ways that you can really advance your career path and find the way forwards for you. So we're going to give you a bit more of an outline in this video as to how you might prepare to do that and get the most out of it in advance. So yeah, in this session, we're going to give you a bit of an overview of the event, what things are on offer to you on the day, what it's roughly going to look like, and how you might make use of it. We're going to give you some ideas, hopefully, spark your thinking as to how to prepare in advance, how to make sure you're fully informed and fully kind of prepped to get the absolute most out of all the things we've got on offer on the day. And we're also going to give you some ideas actually as to how to think about your particular goals, how you might use the event best for yourself in terms of what your priorities are at the moment, and linked to that, what sorts of questions you might want to ask employers that will help you learn the things that will be most helpful to you. And we're also going to signpost some key resources for getting the most out of the event, which might sort of help you to do some of these things, basically. So just to give you a bit of a sense of what to expect and what this is going to look like. This is a kind of view of what the web page is going to kind of roughly seem to be. So this is kind of the entrance hall area where you'll have different rooms going off it, which will offer you some of the different things that GradFair has got for you. So the main thing is going to be the opportunity to learn from and meet and talk to different employers that we've got coming to the event in the employer hall. And as you can see, there'll be a toolbar is along the top, which may look a little bit different to this, but will look roughly the same, where you can enter one of these different rooms, or you can click on the actual room on the page itself. So we've got the employer hall, we've got lots of workshops going on that we in Career Central are offering throughout the day on lots of different career topics that you can drop in and out of to attend. We're going to have support throughout the day from us as well in a live chat in the support zone, but also with the opportunity to book a little slot to speak to one of us one-to-one, speak to a careers advisor to ask any particular questions. But we've also got some help, guides and resources and useful links about loads of different career topics, which you can access during the event as well through the site. So just to give you more of a sense of what that's roughly going to look like. When you enter the employer hall, it will look something a bit like this. Lots of different booths which you can walk up to virtually, click on and find a bit more information about each employer, but also have a chance to kind of talk to them and ask them questions, just like you would if this was an in-person event. Now, the things that you see on this slide in particular, this isn't the final lineup of employers. That's still being finalized. More employers will still be joining us. So what you see here is just for illustrative purposes at the minute. So some of these employers may still be coming, others will also be coming, which you don't see here. So the best thing to do is to look at the program that will be kind of the final program as it will be for this event. But this is just to give you a sense of what roughly to expect that it will look like. And when you click on one of these booths, it's going to look something like this. So it will take you up to the booth. You can click on some different things on the actual booth itself to get different bits of information, or some of the stuff that each employer is offering will be available down the bottom as well. So there'll be links to their website and their socials to learn a bit more about the employer. There'll be some things about any vacancies for opportunities that they have at the moment that's live. But also particularly useful, and I think the most useful thing about this whole event really is you can reserve a chat slot. You can actually talk to the employer to ask them about all of this stuff, because they can tell you what they want to with regard to different documents, videos, opportunities and descriptions about what they have on offer and what they do and what sort of opportunities might be available with them. But actually, in terms of thinking about things that are most useful or interesting to you, the best way to learn those things and to get what you want out of the conversation or out of the event is just to ask them. And that's really what they're here for. Sometimes it can be a bit challenging to find an opportunity to ask a question, to learn what you really want to from an employer or about an employer. But actually, the great thing about this event is that they've come to you and they're all sat there waiting to kind of answer your questions. So it's just a really easy way to learn anything that you want to know about a job, an employer, whether that's whether it's right for you, what the job's actually like, whether that's how to apply, what things must make you stand out. And we'll go through a little bit more about what some of those ideas might be for you a little bit later in the video. But this is roughly what to expect in terms of what that would look like. As we said before, there'll be workshops available throughout the day as well. So when you click on that tab, you'll get a list a little bit like this with some different sort of sessions throughout the day on topics, various different career topics, some of which will be the same as what you see here. There'll be others as well, but this is just to give you an idea of how you can bring up that list and drop into and book into a session as and when you feel like. We've also got something that will look a little bit like this, which will be a help page taking you through lots of different guides, help and support in regards to different parts of your career planning, your career kind of topics, which might include things like mentoring, volunteering, information about internships, some more support about how to understand and use the fair on the day beyond this video, some advice and links also to some live chat with members of our team and the opportunity to book a slot on the day to talk to a careers advisor for anything that you've got on your mind as well. So we're here to support you throughout the day, and that will be easily accessible through these links as well. And actually, so that's roughly what the platform is going to look like. Just to give you kind of an advance warning, an advanced sense of roughly what to expect. But actually, one of the things I'd really recommend in terms of your key preparation is giving yourself a chance to get to know the platform yourself. So once you sign up to attend the event, you'll actually be able to log into the website ahead of the actual day itself. And there'll be lots of videos and things that you can watch that will explain how things will work a little bit better. There'll be a chance to familiarize yourself, really. Just have a look around, have a look at the key areas of the fair, make sure that you have a look at your video settings and for one-to-one chats, so you can have no barriers to kind of talking to employers or to us in the careers team on the day. So just have a look around, get used to what everything is and what it looks like. So you don't have to kind of spend any more time on the day itself doing that. You'll just be ready to go. So that's one key tip. But other things that you might want to keep in mind is in terms of researching organizations and thinking about some of the questions you might ask them. So actually, if you have a look at the program, once that's released, the final program of all the employers who will be attending the fair, it might be useful to kind of take a look at that and think about which ones might interest you. Maybe if there are some that you don't know what they are or what they do, maybe look them up too, actually, because it could be that they'll interest you in ways that you didn't expect if you didn't know who they are. And maybe you look up their website, maybe look at their social media, see what they say about themselves, and actually using the opportunity to understand who they are and what they do might be able to lead you to some more questions. So you might be able to ask them a bit more about the opportunities they have available, the different types of role or job that they do at the company or the organization. And so having a little look up at some of the people in the companies that you might be interested to look at will spark some ideas and perhaps lead to a few more questions that you might want to ask on the day, so you can learn as much as possible and get the most out of it, really. Because it's a really good opportunity to discover stuff, to discover new ideas by coming to the GradFair. You might also want to use the chance once you've done that to think through your approach a little bit. So think about how you want to communicate with employers and what do you want to say about yourself, because it's a really useful opportunity to learn from them. But actually, when you chat to someone, it's also a really nice opportunity to let them get to know you. So if you want to introduce yourself in a certain way by talking about your skills and your attributes and what you've got to offer, or maybe talking about your motivation and what you're interested in, that might be something that will leave a really positive impression with an employer. Maybe have a think about what you want to get out of the day yourself, what your biggest, most important priorities are. So maybe take a look at the timings of our different workshops and talks that we've got on offer, and maybe think about how you want to plan your time. So if there are certain employers that you want to talk to, but also there are some workshops, there's a chance to talk to a careers advisor, maybe work out what time to do that and plan your time throughout the day in advance can be a really useful thing. And also, if you want to upload your CV, that's something that you can do as well. So that's on sort of available. Maybe use that as an opportunity to refine and think about how to present your CV in advance. So we've got resources that will help you with that through My Career Central on our website. So maybe take a look at those in advance and have a little edit of your CV so you've got that ready to go. But also, I think one last point actually is keeping an open mind is a really useful thing when you're coming to an event like GradFair, because actually the chances are your degree is giving you a range of loads of different transferable skills, like things that you can translate to a lot of different jobs, a lot of different contexts. And actually, you might have a few ideas about things you might want to do already or employers that you might want to talk to. But actually, using this as an opportunity to discover and learn about things that you don't know could well open up a lot of new possibilities. It could give you some new ideas that you wouldn't really have thought of, but might actually be really interesting or really exciting. So just even using GradFair as a chance to speak to people new who are doing something you haven't heard of before, or perhaps learning a bit more about something that doesn't, on the face of it, seem to be interesting to you, could also be really valuable. And also, there's a chance today on the day to speak to a careers advisor for some help. So if you kind of are wondering about your tactics, your direction, what you might use the career fair for, maybe just checking in with a careers advisor on the day could also be a really nice way to help you check in and plan what to do with the rest of the time as well. So yeah, keeping an open mind might be a really useful and productive thing. I think the most important question though to ask yourself actually in terms of this prep are actually, what are your goals? So actually thinking about and understanding what you want to get out of the grad fair, or what you might want to get out of grad fair in advance, is really going to help you to decide how you best want to approach it. And that's going to be different for each individual person. So it could be that you have a really clear idea of your career path, and so there are certain employers you're interested in learning about opportunities from that might be able to fit with what you want to do. But equally, you might not have so clear an idea, and that's fine too. So you might want to use this as a chance to get inspiration, explore some ideas, maybe just see what's out there. So really, depending on where you're at, is going to really vary depending on, or rather, what you want to do is going to vary depending on where you're at. So it's good to keep an open mind as well. So for any unexpected things that come up, but have a think about where you are right now and what you want to kind of learn, or what you want to improve or progress with your career thinking. Because there's a few possible goals. So there's lots of things you can use the grad fair for, and some of them might fit in with your current goals and better than others. So understanding your goals and thinking about which of these might fit with you could be a really good starting point. So you could use it to learn about companies and what they do. So thinking about what's out there, is it for you? You could use it to understand a bit more about the internal culture of a company, what it's like to work there. Is that somewhere that you could see yourself being comfortable? Is that an environment or a setting that fits with your style? You might want to just use it to discover the range of different job roles or opportunities that exist across different parts of an organization. So maybe they've got different departments that do different things. Maybe in different organizations, they might have the sort of job that you'd be interested in a place that you didn't really expect it. So it might be a useful way of discovering that. So you might not know that they had jobs of the sort that you're looking for in that particular place. You might also use it to get insight about different career paths from people who have ended up at different employers. Because remember that the reps, the people who are kind of representing the employers, they have had their own career paths too. They're also just people. And so actually chatting to them about what they did after they graduated, how they ended up in the job that they do, what they studied, maybe that's a really interesting way to get some insight about career paths of other people, and in a way that might be useful and inspiring for you. Or you might want to use this as an opportunity to ask employers what they're looking for in an applicant, what makes people stand out. So especially if this is an employer that you could see yourself being interested in, this is an opportunity to get their opinion about what they want to see on an application, and to give you ideas about how you might want to make an application of yourself in the future. So depending on what your goals are and which of those things that you might be interested in doing that would be most helpful to you right now, there's lots of different questions you might want to ask an employer. And this is a great opportunity to do it. So if you are interested in maybe exploring different career ideas or options for yourself, you might want to ask some questions like this, like, how did you get to where you are in your career? Were there any experiences you had that made a difference? How does having studied your subject, your degree that you did, help you in your career now? What do you think is the best thing about working for your organization? Or what challenges do you face in your role? So all of this might tell you a bit more about some of the options that are out there. If you're thinking about researching different jobs, different sectors, different opportunities, there's loads of questions you could ask. I won't read all of these out, but they're here for you to get some inspiration from on the slide. So maybe you'd ask things about what their job looks like, what they like or dislike, what is their typical day like. Maybe you want to ask some more specific questions about the different kind of things they offer or the support they offer, like training opportunities and learning, how they support disabled applicants, what sort of diversity schemes, opportunities that they offer. Maybe things about internships, maybe just anything that's sort of going to be really useful information about opportunities that might be on offer for you. You might also want to ask about developing applications. So if you are in that position where you're thinking about applying for something, you might want to ask them what they expect or what they like. So a question like, what qualities would make a candidate for a job in your area stand out to you? That might give you a really good idea about what to focus on, what to emphasize in your application. Maybe some simpler questions about, do you prefer a 1 or a 2-page CV? If you are thinking about the recruitment process and what that looks like, maybe you want to ask about what they do. Do they do any assessment centers or tests? Do they have any tips about how these things might be navigated best? You might want to ask about any support they offer in kind of making reasonable adjustments within the recruitment process as well, if that applies to you. So there's lots of opportunity to learn about how these things work as well that might be useful in the future. And also, if you're looking for an opportunity, if you're looking for, say, work experience or a job in the future, you might be tempted to ask a really direct question. You might be tempted to literally ask, are there any jobs going? Can you give me some work experience? And you might want to be careful about that because being really direct like that can seem a bit impolite sometimes. So it can be better to ask these questions in a bit more of a subtle, indirect way to sort of still be polite, but still learn what you want to learn. So maybe you could ask something like, if you were trying to find some work experience in your sector, where would you recommend looking? What opportunities does your company offer? But rather than being really direct, what kinds of people would you suggest that I try to speak to learn a bit more about opportunities in your area? So that's a way of giving someone an opportunity to help you by suggesting they introduce you to somebody else if they want to, without you directly asking that. Or you might ask something like, where are the best places to look for opportunities. So if there are some really strong opportunities happening, if there are basically any jobs going, you will get to find that out, but in a way that's a bit more leaving the door open for someone to help you if they want to, in the way that they want to, without being risking being impolite. But also, all of these questions are just ideas, really. These are just prompts to sort of get you thinking. And actually, remember that you can ask any question that fits with what you want to know. So think actually about you as an individual, your priorities, what you actually would find most helpful, and feel free to ask questions based on that. You might sort of be sitting listening to this thinking, okay, well, here are some questions I want to ask, but how do I start talking to people? This can be sometimes a bit a difficult thing to think about. So actually, maybe there's a few ideas that we can give here. We can think about. So maybe start by introducing yourself and setting the context to you and the conversation. Tell them a little bit about your background in terms of your study, your experience, your skills, your interests, where you're at now with your career thinking, what you're trying to learn, what you're trying to find out, what you're hoping to get from the day, or what you want to find out. Think about what you hope to learn from them or will learn about their organization. So basically introduce in quite an open way who you are and what you're trying to find out. Maybe it's going to be really helpful though to do some research first. We already mentioned this earlier, doing some research about different companies beforehand. But actually, you could do that in particular with the company by looking it up on LinkedIn, on the company website, different news and industry articles, and you can use what you find out from your research to explain a little bit about why you're interested in talking to them. So making that a bit more personalized rather than generic. So if you find something out that's kind of interesting that the company's doing at the moment or what's going on, you could ask them about that and whether they're involved in it and how that affects what they do in their job. So actually, what you can do to start a conversation is think and ask yourself, what aspects of this organization make me interested, make me want to speak to this person in particular? So that could be something about the sector, the job role, the skills that might be involved, the day-to-day tasks. And whatever does interest you, you can use that as a guide to kind of tell them what you want to know and to start that conversation. Use it as a context for your conversation. So once you've had an opportunity to have a chat, to learn things, after the fair, there's a few things you can do that will be really helpful too. You can save resources as you go through the fair, so you can kind of bookmark different documents and links that employers will offer you, and you can save them and follow up. So you can reflect on your learning after the event and send an email perhaps. If you make a contact, if you speak to an employer, and they offer you a chance to stay in touch, to give you their email or connect on LinkedIn, you can follow up, say thank you about the conversation, and if they've offered you any more resources, look them up, have a read through them, but also make sure you ask for anything that you're offered, and then think about what your next steps are after that, what action you might take on the things that you have learned. Maybe also you want to, as I said, follow up on contacts. If you've had a chat with someone, maybe and you're on LinkedIn, you're trying to build a network, you're trying to make yourself a bit more visible in the future. Having talked to someone at an event like GradFair is a great opportunity to then add them on LinkedIn and keep in touch with what they post, keep a track of where they are, so you can maybe approach them to ask for another conversation in the future. Maybe think about preparing some applications. If there's a particular vacancy that's on offer at the moment, that might be something that you can take what you've learned from the fair and use it to prepare that application and get it out there, because sometimes the vacancy may fill quite quickly. And also, do remember that you can contact us for support and help with all of this. Because remember that this is just one event, but we are here to support you throughout, really, for the rest of your time at university and beyond. So you can access our support for up to 3 years after you graduate as well. And there's lots of other employer events that we do offer, so you can still sign up to and attend those to learn a bit more about different employers in different areas as well. So remember, I'd say actually that the best way I think you can prepare for the fair is to think about how you can use it to its maximum potential. And I think its maximum potential is the chance to talk to these people and learn exactly what you need to know from them. And remember, that doesn't have to be a thing that's intimidating or difficult. It's just a chat with a human. So above all, when you're having these conversations, when you're thinking about how to have these conversations, just remember that you can relax and just be human. You don't have to have a professional or business persona. The people that you're going to talk to, the employer reps, or indeed us at Career Central, we're all just people, like humans, like you. Everyone you talk to has feelings, interests. They have a sense of humor. They have personal lives. They probably have pets, sports teams, hobbies. So it's okay to talk to them like you would talk to another human within a professional setting. As long as you're being appropriate, you're being polite, you can be authentic as well. You can chill out and ask the questions you want to and connect on a human level as well. So there's a couple of key resources here which might be useful to you as well. We've got a guide to networking on My Career Central, which might help you to think about how to talk to people and how to prepare for both having a conversation, asking questions, but also following up afterwards. And we've also got some diversity and disability resources on our website as well for anyone who's interested in thinking about that and any questions you might ask employers around those issues as well, which could be really helpful. And so, do remember, by the way, that GradFair is just part of a wider GradReady program of events and support and on things we have on offer to support you as you come towards graduation. So do check out the other things we have on offer there too. And not to mention a variety of other support and things we have more generally in Career Central to kind of help you. So we have vacancies listings, we have employer contact and events, which GradFair is one example of, but there are many other things going on, including mentoring, other events with graduates and alumni and employers. But also we do offer our regular workshops and our one-to-one advice and guidance. So if you've come away from this video and from GradFair still not quite sure of where you are, don't hesitate to get in touch. We'll be able to help you out with whatever situation you're in to do with your career. So thanks, and hope you get the most out of GradFair.